Coming up on this episode of Common Denominator.
Creativity, I feel, is something that's learned. You're not born with it. It's just something that grows with experience. And when I get these opportunities where I'm trying to figure out how to make something or how to teach someone to make something, it just fills my soul figuring it out. And then the reward at the end that I actually did it and I can explain it and I can teach it to other people.
Hi, and welcome to Common Denominator, where we shine a light on people striving to make the world a better place. Today, a nationally renowned DIY expert has fun projects for you and your family this summer. Dinah Wulf is the creator of DIYinspired.com, a flourishing DIY home decor and crafts brand. With her signature creative touch, she'll help you revitalize your home and add some flair to your life. Dinah and I just finished our conversation, and the thing that really inspired me to do stuff myself was that even though it may seem hard, but in the long run, so rewarding and fulfilling. Now, here's my conversation with DIY expert Dinah Wulf. Enjoy. Hi, Dinah, and welcome to Common Denominator.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Always a lot of fun to have super interesting guests as yourself. You know, I always think about the DIY space, do it yourself. It's like, seems hard and tough, but yet so satisfying. So tell us, let's start kind of high level. What's something now that, top of the list that people have a lot of interest in doing? What kind of like project that's really popular nowadays?
So I think now that people are out of COVID and out of their house, there's a lot more entertaining going on. So part of my DIY craft business is a lot to do with parties and entertaining. And so I've worked with Party City and other companies like that, and small things that to make your gathering a little more special would be small crafts and DIYs to add into your party. So for example, if you're serving champagne or rosé, all you need to do is take a balloon and fill it with water, but also stuff a beautiful flower, a colorful flower, or even a leaf inside, and you freeze it, and you use those balls as your ice in your champagne buckets or your rosé buckets. It just adds a little nice touch to it. Also, it's easy to simplify with entertaining. And avoid food waste is to serve in like small portions, and individual portions actually is always something that's a hit on party and entertaining.
Yeah, so I definitely love that. Being here in Miami, I'm seeing a lot more parties, and any idea to spruce up the environment seems really cool. Recently, we got a dog. His name is Boris, right? So red poodle, and I know that you also have a project that you do, kind of a mid-century modern doghouse, and I saw that when I was looking online. That looked really, really cool.
That was a fun project. So I work with GMC, General Motors Company, and I would do craft trunk or treats on KTLA and Good Day LA, and do morning news segments for them using their GMC cars. And then I would also do, I was on a DIY show with them, where we worked with Habitat for Humanity, and we did a fun challenge show where we went to Habitat for Humanity. We gathered materials and we had to build a set. Well, once they knew that I had some small construction experience, they asked me to build a mid-century modern doghouse for a charity event for animals. So I had never, this was, something in my life that I was familiar with small builds, but it was a big challenge for me to figure out. And of course I said, yes, I'll figure it out. And I literally, out of sketches and winging it, and some Google searches, I built a they needed it large enough for 2 dogs. So I built a mid-century modern doghouse complete with a succulent garden on the outside. It was beautiful. And they picked it up and they shipped it to the charity event for the dogs to use.
And so, I mean, I love that, first of all, that ability. Some people have that side of the brain, some people don't. But what is it about DIY that it's kind of like actually rewarding feeling? It's like this fun and rewarding feeling, but yet seems so hard to get started,
Yes. And this is almost an easy question for me because I think the challenge, creativity, I feel, is something that's learned. You're not born with it. It's just something that grows with experience. And when I get these opportunities where I'm trying to figure out how to make something or how to teach someone to make something, it just fills my soul figuring it out. And then the reward at the end that I actually did it and I can explain it and I can teach it to other people, because a large part of my business is the tutorials that I offer, the free tutorials that I offer my viewers and my audience.
I know myself, when I started to, whether it was the podcast or even beginning of the year, started playing piano, but that creative side, I didn't even know I even had a creative side. I was more like mathematical and more logical and practical. But once I see it coming out more and more, it's like you just want to explore that and see where it goes. There's no good or bad, but it's just something so filling to express yourself in whatever you're doing. And I think that goes into the DIY, and then even teaching people that. Mm-hmm. I assume that that's kind of the idea.
I love, like I said, accepting challenges. And when an opportunity arises, for example, a torch company reached out to me and they wanted to work with me. And I'm like, what am I going to do with a blowtorch or a hand torch? How am I going to figure this out? Well, it ended up being such an amazing partnership that, over 36 articles later and projects later, I found comfortability in working with the hand torch, which is something that I had never thought that I would ever do in my life. So that part was very rewarding as well.
And I know also whenever I go to the mall, I take the kids during Christmas time, and obviously, you have Santa and you have all this major, installation where Santa sits and all these things. And then I realize that it's actually you that's putting that together, which is the coolest thing ever. I'm always wondering, who actually spends the time to put this together? So when you put that together in these malls, do you have a team? Do you do it yourself? How does that?
Yes, we have a team. We come up with the vision, and then we have mood boards and we execute, and it's hours and hours of hard labor and work, sometimes 14, 15 hours in one day. There's timelines with the seasons at the mall. So of course we only have X amount of time. Some people fly in and we have to get, all the materials in and just make it a magical, beautiful place for kids to visit. It started off with selfie booths because the mall needed just some interaction with customers coming in, and we would design large selfie booths where they could use for free, tag the mall, promote it on social media, and that is such a fun job where you're just creating these whimsical pieces for adults and children. and they find enjoyment with creating their own videos and making these sets their own. And it's a fun gig.
Yeah, no, it's definitely super cool. And I know the past couple of years, right, the company Etsy, that kind of independent, creative, and I people coming out with different products, and it's really exploded. Maybe because of COVID, maybe other reasons. But what do you think? What do you attribute that explosion of Etsy and the DIY kind of movement?
Honestly, I think when people were stuck at home, they just started Googling. And it's interesting because I started this, 2011. So I just, celebrated my 12-year anniversary. And I had never made more income than 2020 during the pandemic. And Etsy was a big part of it because people were just, they were looking for these. Actually, I feel like they were supporting smaller business and the creative community. And for Etsy, it was all digital downloads. That's how I did my business. I didn't want to make and ship anything. However, after the pandemic, I decided I would try my first product. I made 60 of them. I'm like, I wonder if this is going to work. And that year I sold 2,700. And it was like, wow. Etsy became one of my main streams of income. It was crazy how many people were on there looking for this product. So it's a great resource for creatives like me, a great additional income stream for moms like me that stay at home and work.
I know that you had the newest kind of product is a magic elf kit. I think, myself having 10 kids, I'm like, okay, that would be super cool to, sit and do this project. What is that project exactly? Are we putting together like a whole home for elves, or that's just seems really cool?
So if you're familiar with the tradition, did you do the tradition at your home? I don't know, but a lot of people have.
Yeah.
And at first it's, great and cute and sweet and, it's magical for your kids. But then as they grow older, you're keeping this tradition up for years and you're just running out of ideas. So I created a kit that helps you get through the 30 days of elf shenanigans that parents need to keep up with this tradition. So they just buy the kit. They don't have to think about it. They pull out a prop that the night before and then use it. So there's no thinking involved, no more forgetting in the middle of the night and things like that.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to the Common Denominator podcast. My guest is DIY expert Dinah Wulf. Next week, I'll chat with Kyle Ritef, founder of Holistic University. Kyle offers game-changing strategies to help you heal your mind, body, and spirit holistically. His mission is to help people who are ready to break the cycles of their trauma and tap into the depth of their being. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Now, back to the show. So one thing I want to go back to is, how you started on this journey, because super inspiring to me, large family, and you have all this being pulled in so many different ways. From what I understand, you were in the mortgage business. You just said you had your 12-year anniversary, in the DIY space, and, working all these crazy hours. And I guess there was just this moment where you said, you know what, I quit, I'm done. And then you started a new career. What was that like, that beginning stages?
So in the beginning, I was a hustler. I had a suit and heels every day, 14 hours a day. I started in the mortgage business, was a mortgage broker. And then this is pre-2008 crash. And then I also started investing in real estate during this time. Then the crash came, and my business partner and I quickly pivoted to the REO short sale
Sure.
BPO business. And it was great, and we were doing fine after the crash. However, when I got married to my husband and had our first child, he's like, you know what? It's, 2009, like, let's put this real estate thing to bed, other than our investment properties. And why don't you just stay home and watch the kids? And I'm like, okay, maybe we'll see, because I'm just a workaholic. And so 6 months into it, I, had our firstborn, and she was crawling, and I was just antsy. I missed working. And I would go on these blogs and see these DIY and craft blogs, and thought, I have maxed out. Do you remember Farmville? It was like a game
Sure.
where you played on Facebook. I had like played this video game on my phone for like hours. And I'm like, what am I doing with my life? So I started DIY Inspired with the intention of turning into a job. And my husband was like, this is going to last like 3 months, but I'll support you. Like, we can do it. And he's in the web space. So he helped me set up the blog, and I just pounded the pavement and just thought of, I think I published an article every single day for the first 5 years. And then it quickly turned into an income stream after about 1.5 years. And blogging was still kind of new. So now it's a completely new monster with social media, but we've been able to pivot and change and work with that and still be successful in the business 12 years later.
Yeah. No, I think anyone that's able to do that for this long, I mean, I'm sure you had some advice for anyone that's actually working from home. What's the core mindset, or the core piece of advice in order to be successful working from home?
So specifically in my creative digital influencer field, I know a lot of moms, it's really just persistence and keep going. The advice that I give for someone who wants to start a blog or a website is to write before you even think of a name or a URL or what it is. I tell them to write 20 articles. Not only write 20 articles, but take the pictures for them, take the videos for them, edit those videos, edit those pictures. Is this something that you can do and enjoy? Because that's what I feel is great about my job in particular. I'm passionate about crafts and DIY. I wasn't super passionate about mortgage loans, and so if you can do that and move forward, it's the beginning of a great business, but it's a lot of hard work. And if you're trying to do this on Instagram or Facebook or whatever TikTok platform, honestly, you need a base, a website of your own, something that you own, because you can't put everything all in one basket. I know a lot of people trying to make it, TikTok famous, Instagram famous, but the minute, they change their income structures and algorithms, your income is dependent on these micro blogging platforms. But if you have a blog to backfill with evergreen content, you can create a business that is always paying you passive income every month. You'll always get a paycheck. So that's my advice for someone who's starting.
Yeah, I mean, that's always in anything. Create, I guess, systems that there'll be passive income for sure. Because
Right.
I also know you mentioned before that you have real estate investments. Do you do, from the creative standpoint, do you handle I guess it's fix up, and do you do the design for these homes that you're buying?
So my husband and I, we were both real estate investors when we met. We met late in life in our mid 30s, early to mid 30s, and we both had investment properties. So buy and hold properties with tenants. And I know there's a lot of different strategies for real estate. But we kind of just blended our superpowers together. And we've sold and bought. I am the one for our small real estate investment company that remotely manages all of our homes from home. So I have done remodeling remotely. Honestly, the key to remotely working with tenants and being a landlord, because we have several properties in 4 different states, is to just be organized. My whole entire life is on an Excel spreadsheet for each state we're in. I have contacts, for HVAC. I have contacts for plumbing, real estate agents, loan officers, you name it. I have a contact in each area that we're in.
I heard this a bunch of times, but I think one of the key recipes to success is that organization. And you have this list, like a practical how to, and the item, until the item's done perfectly, it doesn't come off your list. And that's where you live off of, your calendar, your list. And it is, I saw my grandmother do it. I saw, many people that actually have success. They always say organization and then lists, and they just keep knocking it back. But I want to, just for parents and kids, now we're going into the summer. What would you say top DIY activity, long summer days? What would you say is top of the mind for parents to do with kids?
So one thing my daughters and I did was we built raised garden beds in our backyard. And the kids really wanted to start a garden. And so it's something that, you take care of over time, over the summer. And we planted different vegetables in it, different flowers. One of the girls threw their watermelon seeds in it, and all of a sudden we had small watermelons. They didn't taste too great, but it was just something fun as a family that we could do. I mean, they helped me build it. They helped me paint it or stain it. They helped me put the soil in, plant all the seeds, watered it, really took care of it. And it's just a fun, ongoing project that we do together.
Yeah, our not-for-profit called Neighborhood Farms USA, we put in communities, we put raised beds. So we're very, very, very big fans in the family of healthy eating and raised beds and teaching people about healthy eating. So definitely relate to that. So what is something that comes to your mind that you're super grateful for?
Oh man, I am so grateful for so many things, and I think that's part of success is being thankful and grateful for everything. But if I had to narrow it down, honestly, the core relationship my husband and I have, we make our conversations are very intentional, whether it's about business or family or us. He's the one that talks through strategy with me. He's the one that, he even asked me for advice, which I think is great because, he's this businessman. And I think I'm really, and then because we're strong and we're a strong unit, our kids see that and our kids are happy. And it's just, a snowball effect on that. So I would have to say the relationship my husband and I have
Yeah, it always starts from
finally made. Yeah.
it always starts from the foundation. It's the most amount of work, but it's the most rewarding. So I
Right.
definitely second that. And what's something?
Not saying it's
Yes.
not a lot of work.
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely a lot of work.
That
but
is, yeah. There's always work and good things. That's what it is. And what's something about you that people don't know?
I actually used to teach interpersonal communications and public speaking at California State University, Fullerton. I did that prior to the loan and real estate business. So I did that during grad school, and it was nerve-wracking and fun at the same time.
Yeah.
But I realized that there wasn't a whole lot of money in teaching, so that's where I pivoted.
Well, I want to tell you something. I'm inspired to go out with the kids, my wife, and do some DIY projects this summer. And really, thank you so much for your time, Dinah. How can people follow you on social or wherever you are? Yes.
So you can actually watch my family right now on Disney Plus. If you have Disney Plus streaming services, we're on a show called Disney Family Sundays. We're on a couple episodes of that. It's a craft and DIY show. And you can also find me everywhere as DIY inspired. So my blog is DIY inspired. My Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything is DIY inspired.
Well, thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hope you enjoyed my conversation with Dinah. Next week, I'll speak with Kyle Ratef. Kyle teaches people how to heal themselves and others through massage therapy, breath work, Chinese medicine, and more. We'll even chat about the role psychedelics can play in a healing journey. Please subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode, and follow me on social media at @mpopack. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you again soon.